James, after 7 seasons as manager of Cumbernauld Colts, you've decided it's time to call time as first team manager. What's your initial reactions?
The reason decided to call time on it is because over the last season I asked David Prox to come in to help us, and over that season it's been clear that David's aspired to be a manager and want to do well and ambitious enough and plays the right way that I want to play. So for myself, it's the work's going very well and it lets me slow down a little bit, and I've got somebody who wants to take the role on as manager. So it's an easy transition to pass it to somebody who wants the best for the Colts.
Going back 12 months then, when David came into the club, was that part of the sort of long-term succession plan, or is that something that sort of developed over the season as you've worked together with David?
Yeah, over the past year I've been thinking about it, to be honest, but just with the business side of things and away from football. But I'd always been thinking I wanted to do it at the right time for the club, for myself. But how do you move it? How do you move it in the best way? I guess everybody goes and reads some books, right? But there's a book I read that if you're going to leave somewhere, leave it in a better place, right? So leave a jersey in a better place. And I think with David coming in and through the season, the way he deals with players, the way he interacts with everybody else here, and the amount of times that we sit in that car park speaking to half 11 about football and everything, it tells you how much he loves the place. He's only been here for a year, and that sort of lets me decide very easily to pass it to the right people.
Great stuff. 7 seasons you've been the manager here at Cumbernauld Colts since the Lowland League formed, since the club was formed. I'm sure a lot of sort of highs and lows over the years. Give us one of your highlights and just a wee quick sort of summary of the 7 seasons.
See, to be honest, the highlights is the amount of people that have been here for that long. There's no big changeover, so you're always dealing with the same people. So highlights is I come from Cumbernauld, so meeting nice people, meeting guys who are the character of this club, who put in so much effort, it makes you want to do it as well. So for how much time and effort and patience everybody's got, where this club's came from in 7 years has been astronomical for me. So just starting off as a team coming in, just small team, not a big budget, and then now still not a big budget, however, but the type of players we can get in now with the way the club's been, the change in the club, the dressing room, the things we do. The highlights is how much the club has actually started moving through, and we're becoming a club I think that people would like to come to, that people see that we've got a style of playing. And for me, just coming in and just trying to get best results now that we've got a style of playing, a style of doing things, a character of doing things, that's been a highlight for me, seeing us get something at the end of this.
Mm-hmm. You've made some history while you've been here as manager. Cumbernauld Colts won their first sort of domestic trophy, if you like, when they won the Lowland League Cup. Obviously one of your highlights. Also got a top 4 finish one season as well. So a lot to be proud of over the last 7 years in terms of on the pitch.
Yeah, I think again the proud bit is seeing our young boys coming through. And the big part for me is that when I first came up to this and I met Stuart, that many years ago, and I says to him, there must have been about 200 kids, 4 or 5 year olds running on this park on a Saturday morning, and I couldn't understand how the way we worked at the academy to try and push people through, and then when you see this club from the bottom right through, and you start seeing 16, 17, 18, 19 year olds, 20 year olds, and you're thinking, how can we start getting them through? And it wasn't until the second season we brought maybe 4 or 5 through straight away, and they came right into the club, into the team, and these are all from under 20s. And then this year again, if you sort of fast forward a few years, this year again we've had boys for the under 18s in the first team, we've had boys for 20s in the first team, and they've all made their debut in senior football, which is, for me, it's always a highlight, because that's who we are as a club, that's who we should always try and aspire to. The boys need to be good enough to get in, we don't just put them in, because we need to be competitive. But for me, that's great for the coaches, because all these coaches they're all here, they're not paid, you know what I mean, they're here on a voluntary basis. So because of that, and all these dads, mums, everybody that puts in the effort, for somebody to go and get a debut in senior football is terrific.
Very quickly, just on the Lowland League itself, you've seen probably a lot of transition even in the Lowland League since the league started back in 2015, obviously up to now. What do you feel about the standard of the Lowland League now for moving forward in terms of the club playing at that level and the pyramid system?
I think it's got harder, obviously, through it. it's more technical for me, and that may be down to the more plastic pitches, but it's more technical, it's faster. I think there's so many boys coming down now for first and second division because there's probably a bit more money in the lower league now in terms of people getting paid. So from that, it's getting a lot harder, a lot more technical, but it's getting very competitive. Budgets are getting bigger, and because of that, then suddenly these teams we can compete with, our best of teams in this league can compete with the second division, same with second division compete with first division. But in any given day, I think most of these teams in this league can go into that second division and hold their own.
Just finally, a personal note, obviously you've stepped down, but you are going to be remaining with the club. Don't think we've got an official title, but in some sort of club consultancy capacity.
Right.
Give us a little bit of sort of background about that and what you might be doing as things move forward.
It's still to be discussed, to be honest. What I says is I'm going to be hanging about for a year, as I said, so I'm going to be hanging about for a year and I want to help the club try and continue to move forward. Now the easiest way that I can try and help this club to move forward is to help Ian in the background and try and gain more momentum on the sponsorship and things like that. So that's where I think I could possibly help and make sure that I help David, Darren and Kev get to a budget that we could really aspire to do something in this league, because even though it's about the coaching and bringing boys through and everything else, and we are a coaching team, that's what we are a coaching club. We need the boys to come through, we're not a buying club, but we still need a good budget, good infrastructure to make sure that we go and do well and be competitive in this league, because that's what everybody wants to do, want to go and win a league. And I believe with infrastructure here we can do that, but we always need to get that momentum and that sponsorship, not just for 1 year, try and get it for 2, 3 and 4 years and get the community buy into the club, because we have got a community club, but they probably don't buy in as much as we should, and we really need to push that. So I'm going to try and help do that.
Great stuff. James, on behalf of the club, I'd like to thank you very, very much for your service, all the great memories over the last 7 years, and wish you all the best in all the future that you're going to do with the club and in your own business, family life and all the rest of it.
Chaps, thanks very much.
Okay.
That,